I'm lucky. I'm the first guy to admit I'm lucky. I get to do what I love to do. I get great books written by the finest authors in the world. I get to read them and I get to express my opinions, and people give me money for them. This week's review, I love the book. I'm hating doing the review. Want to know why? The book is arguably essays by Christopher Hitchens. I love the Hitch. Um, I wrote a little note to Martin Amis last week where I let Amos know who is Hitchens' lifelong best friend. That although please don't pass this along to Hitchens because I wouldn't want to piss him off, but I'm praying for him, and that frankly I'm envious of Hitchens to have a friend as good as Amos is, who actually has moved from London, England to New York to be close to his friend because his friend is, well, I believe in miracles, but I'm also realist enough to know that they don't come along a lot. Christopher Hitchens is dying. He's lost that beautiful, mellifluous, ironic voice to esophageal cancer, which is in its final stages. And arguably may well be the last book of essays or any other form that Hitchens gives to us. I have cried at the death of someone 3 times in my life. When my grandfather died, when Graham Greene died, when Hunter S. Thompson blew his brains out, and the fourth time is going to be when Hitchens passes away. What I realized in reading arguably is that I've always loved Hitchens as a journalist, as a raconteur, as a pundit on television, as a brave and courageous man with the courage particularly of his convictions regardless of whatever the fashions of the day might be, even when I have disagreed with him. I have enjoyed his writing and I have listened to his opinions because they are always well reasoned. But what I didn't realize until I read Arguably is that much more than the man, how much I truly love him, he's not gone yet, as a writer. He has an immaculate touch with words, particularly, and I'm humbled by this, particularly as a book reviewer and a reviewer of authors. He can get to the heart of the matter in a magnificent and personal way, both with authors he admires. There's a fantastic um, introduction that he did to Rebecca West's book, The Black Sheep and the Gray Falcon, that is as pure a piece of writing and analysis as you will ever see. He does equally with Evil and Noir, with his favorite P.G. Wodehouse. Even writers who he's not particularly dazzled by, John Updike, for instance, he still pays them their due. And the best thing is that when you're finished reading a review by Hitchens, you want to read the book, whether he loved it or not, because he makes his subject more interesting than it otherwise might have been. Of course, he is best known as a political writer and analyst of world affairs. And I'd like to read you an excerpt from one of his essays. This is a very long book, by the by, 788 pages indexed. But I hope that you'll resist the temptation, as I did, to just dip into it. Reading it from cover to cover, is to be exposed to one of the most extraordinary minds, perhaps the most extraordinary mind in our lifetimes. As I've said before, um, in this book and a Martini series, um, Hitchens has been abandoned by the left largely because the left believes that he has abandoned it. I've never felt that that was true. I've always felt that Hitchens has been utterly consistent and that he does stand up for the underdog. He abhors violence or any other action taken for pure ideological reasons, whether those reasons be theocratic or matters of political ideology. He stands for the victims, and we need more people like that because so often journalists tend to side with whatever the power is, whoever throws the best lunch. But in an essay called America, the Banana Republic, um, I believe that his leftist credentials are still quite in place. The passport can be stamped, shall we say. This is in 2008, at the time of the first massive bailout of Wall Street. At a dinner party in New York during the Wall Street meltdown, where the citizens were still serious enough to do what they are supposed to do, break off the chat and tune in to the speech of the President of the United States and leader of the free world, the same impression of living in a surreal country that was a basket case pensioner of the international monetary system was hugely reinforced. The staring eyes, close enough together for their owner to use a monocle, and the robotic delivery were a fine accompaniment to the already sweaty, "Don't panic, don't, whatever you do, panic!" injunction that was being so hastily improvised. At a White House meeting with his financial wizards, and I mean the term in its literal sense, the same chief executive is reported to have whimpered, "This sucker could go down," or words to that effect. It's not difficult to imagine the scene, so add one more Banana Republic feature to the profile. A president who is a figurehead one day and a despot the next, and who goes all wide-eyed and calls in witch doctors when the portents don't seem altogether reassuring. Now ask yourself another question. Has anybody resigned from either the public or the private sectors overlapping so lavishly as they do now? Has anybody even offered to resign? Have you heard anybody in authority apologize in, "So very sorry about your savings and pensions and homes and college funds, and I feel personally rotten about it"? Have you heard the questions being posed? Okay then, has anybody been fired? Any regulator, any supervisor, any runaway good would-be golden parachute artist? Anyone responsible for smugly putting the word derivative like a virus into the system? To ask the question is to answer it. The most you can say is that some people have had to take a slightly early retirement, but a retirement very much sweetened by the wherewithal in which to retire. That doesn't quite count. These are the rules that apply in Zimbabwe or Equatorial Guinea or Venezuela, where the political big boys mimic what is said about our hedge funds and investment banks, the stupid mantra about being too big to fail. If you truly like to think and to laugh, Hitchens is hilarious, particularly when he talks about the humor in other writers. If you like to think, if you like to laugh, if you admire great writing, if you're a writer, if you want to feel, yes, humbled in the presence of greatness, to stand on the shoulder of giants, as the old phrase goes, read Christopher Hitchens. And look, don't tell him okay, but maybe send him a prayer. I'm looking forward to when Hitchens meets God. I suspect God will say, "I didn't believe that you existed," and Hitchens will say, "I still don't believe that you do." And as our old friend Tommy Snyder used to say, for all of us who work the late shift,